My text set is built around the question, how can multicultural literacy foster empathy and acceptance in a diverse elementary school setting? The three texts that I have selected for this assignment are The Name Jar by Yang Suk Choi, The Only One Club written by Jane Nalaboff, and I Am Jazz written by Jessica Herthel and Jazz Jennings. Each picture book represents a different culture or community. Having just moved from Korea, Eun-hee is anxious about starting a new school. She is hesitant to introduce herself to her new classmates due to the reaction she receives on the bus ride to school from her peers. The children mispronounce her name on purpose in a teasing manner. When the teacher asks the girl her name, she replies that she will share it with the class when she decides on an American name. The author exemplifies Eun-hee's feelings towards her unique name by the creation of the name jar in her classroom. This is where her classmates suggest new names to her daily with various reasons. Her differences are not invisible, but embraced by her classmate Joey, who has a strong connection with the Korean American community. He is even given a Korean nickname, Chinku, which means friend. This demonstrates how one friend can impact an individual's perception and acceptance. The name jar enriches our understanding of history and life by giving voice to those who have been traditionally marginalized or silenced. In an elementary school classroom, Mrs. Matthews is asking her students to create Christmas decorations for the classroom. Jennifer celebrates Hanukkah. When she tells Mrs. Matthews this, she asks the class if anyone else celebrates Hanukkah. When Jennifer realizes she is the only one, she decides to create a club. When her classmates want to join, she is resistant until she realizes that each of her friends is also the only one at something. As each member is inducted into Jennifer's Only One Club, she reveals the unique qualities that make each one of her classmates extraordinary. Through this story, children are encouraged to discover and treasure their own uniqueness while accepting others beyond their race and cultural differences. Through this beautiful picture book, unique qualities, regardless of race or culture, is revealed in Jennifer's classmates. Through these stories, children are taught to embrace each other's differences. Jane Nalaboff teaches children to discover and treasure their own uniqueness and to actively look for special qualities in other people. I Am Jazz is an autobiography about a boy who is transitioning in the new millennium. From the time she was born, Jazz describes having a girl brain in a boy's body. Jazz deserves the things that every child has: a loving family, supportive friends, and the freedom to be her true self. There is a balance of her parents' ongoing confusion, segregation from society, and ultimately the love and acceptance from her family. The book includes a trip to the doctor, where the word transgender is explained to the parents and the realization of their child is made. This book is beautifully illustrated and written for young children to access the true story of one transgender girl's journey to find herself. There are limited books that discuss the topic of transgender children. Elementary age children are impressionable learners who should be exposed to controversial topics that could pertain to their own personal lives. This particular text has been controversial since the topic of literary discussion since its publication as an ebook in 2013. The story of Jazz Jennings is one that has often been silenced and not discussed in an educational setting for many reasons. This book would allow the teacher to facilitate classroom discussions that would promote acceptance of youth transgender, which could be current in today's educational setting. The Name Jar, The Only One Club, and I Am Jazz all address the theme of acceptance. When reading these stories with children, students can make and feel empathy towards the characters that are represented. Whether they make personal connections with their problems or struggles, their understanding of diversity will be strengthened through these relatable characters. Like many children, these characters are just trying to find their place in society. By the end of the study, students will have a better understanding of multicultural literature. They will be able to define terms such as diversity, empathy, and acceptance. The connections they make with the text will be evident with citing specific examples. The text and lessons presented are geared toward students in kindergarten, first, second, and third grade. These students are from various ethnic and cultural backgrounds. The length of study would be approximately 3 weeks. This would allow students an appropriate amount of time to engage with each presented text. Some activities that would be presented utilizing the name jar are whole group discussions about relocating or moving. This may be to a different town, a state, or even a different country. This would allow students to share their own personal experiences with relocating, sharing their emotions and their feelings. We would also have a chance to discuss the character and her feeling towards moving to an unfamiliar country, having to learn a new language, and as a group we will analyze the main character and create a timeline that emphasizes her changing perception throughout the book. Some activities would be presented to the students when we read The One and Only Club, would be discussing various holidays that the children in the class celebrate. We would have a healthy discussion about what makes each one of us unique by pointing out positive personal attributes. Students would be given a piece of paper to write down their own unique quality and throw this into a large bucket. Each student would select a random piece of paper to create a badge for that unique quality. Upon the completion of the badges, students at random would present their badges to the class and either have students guess who the badge belongs to, or simply have students stand and accept their new badge when it is presented by their classmate. Before reading the book, I Am Jazz, students need background knowledge of the word transgender. The teacher would begin with discussing gender roles of what a boy or girl is expected to do or how they are supposed to behave. This would allow students to give examples of stereotypical roles, such as girls are supposed to play with dolls and boys are supposed to play with cars and trucks. As a group, we would discuss the reaction of Jazz's parents and her classmates. The topic of bullying would arise, and we would discuss how to empower one another rather than becoming a bystander in these types of situations. There are so many activities that could be taught across the content areas. In writing, students could describe their name stamp that he or she has created. In social group, we would continue to expose students to activities that enrich the theme of acceptance, empathy, and diversity. Videos and social stories, games, or role-playing would connect students with these topics. To encourage students to gain knowledge about other cultures, during social studies, students could research different holidays that are celebrated around the world. Students could create presentations and explain these traditions to their peers. Incorporating technology and allowing students to research the origin of their names would be something that students would enjoy. This project allowed me to broaden my own personal experiences with multicultural text. I've purchased and incorporated more authentic literature in my teaching and my classroom. I can see the excitement in my students when I read a text that they truly connect with. The students are becoming more aware of the diversity of characters that they can engage with in literature. As a result of creating this text set project, I learned that not all books that I found applied to my own essential question. However, they could be incorporated in my classroom to foster great classroom discussions. Certain books should not just simply be put on a shelf for students to pick up and read, but should be introduced by the teacher first to ensure proper comprehension and application. What I liked about creating this text set was the opportunity to really research genuine pieces of literature that would be both beneficial in my multi-grade leveled classroom. What I found challenging was selecting various genres of text. Most of the texts that I found were fictional pieces of literature. It was a challenge for me to find a balance of various genres that addressed my own essential question.